I was so close to placing in the top 5 on the biggest natural bodybuilding stage in the UK as a first timer. I've asked ChatGPT to help me recap the experience. Let's get into it. Question number 1 then. You came so close to placing in the top 5. How do you feel about your performance now that the competition is over? I think absolutely everything that I had within my control, I nailed. So my posing, my condition, my tan, my stage presence, all of that was absolutely on point. I felt very, very gutted post-show because I really thought I was in with a chance of winning. Or at least placing, sorry. There were some great guys on there. There was 17 in the class, so it was huge. And obviously I was competing as a first timer in an open class, so they had competed many times before. Not that I'm trying to make excuses, but on reflection, I think I did a really, really good job, and I couldn't be happier or prouder of where I came. Would have been nice to get in the top 5, but you know, we live and we learn. Question 2. Did you receive any feedback from the judges? If so, what areas do you think you'll focus on improving for your next competition? So luckily, my coach is actually a WNBF judge. He wasn't able to judge my class for obvious reasons, bit of a conflict of interest. And I will be receiving some feedback from the judges via email, but I just haven't had that through yet. We think really it is a muscularity thing. We knew it was going to be a bit of an issue. I'm not the biggest guy, so I think 2 to 3 years away from the stage, and I need to focus on building up my arms and my delts mainly, and also my back. So big part of men's physique is having that big wide back and nice taper, the round capped delts and the big thick arms. I'm not too far off, but we could just do with some enhancing there. Mindset post-competition. So missing the top 5 is tough, especially after such an intense prep. How have you processed the outcome, and what keeps you motivated moving forwards? So yeah, as I said, it is quite tough to take after you've spent so long preparing for it, but I've cut myself a little bit of a slack because, like I said, my first time on the stage and I didn't look out of place. So I'm going to take that as a massive win. I've processed things now. I do have a show this weekend as well. We've made some tweaks, so hopefully that's going to help things along. And what's going to keep me motivated is I've got a real bug for this now and a buzz, and I'm just going to focus on 2-3 years time when I get to step back on stage again, and the possibility of looking, you know, much better, stronger in the areas that we think are weak. That's very motivating to me. Maybe 2 to 3 years is a long time for some people to spend doing that, but I just love this game. I love the journey. Lessons learned. So what's the biggest lesson you took away from your first physique show experience, both physically and mentally? From a physical perspective, obviously we've spoken about some of the areas that I need to bring up that are weaknesses. And I think one of the main things is the WNBF rulings say that you have to have your hips flat on, facing the judges. And on looking back, hardly anyone was doing that. And when you twist your hips away slightly, you get a nice taper. And that just really helps you to look less square in that front position. So that is something that I'm going to be implementing this weekend in my show, just so that I can look a little bit more narrow at the waist. And also, I was told, and now I've looked back, my shorts were too high, which kind of made my upper body look quite stocky and my legs look quite long. So yeah, that detracted from that taper even more. So 2 things that I've learned there, I guess physically. Mentally, I showed myself that I could do it. I showed myself I've got the confidence. I had a lot of compliments saying that I had the best stage presence out there. I was happy, buzzing, looked like I wanted to be there, hungry for it. So yeah, I never thought that it would be something that I would do, but I've done it, and I owned the stage. I did own the stage. So I'm going to take that, and I hope that doesn't sound big-headed. How did it feel to finally step on the stage after 23 weeks of prep? Did the energy of the competition live up to your expectations? Yeah, absolutely electric. I was buzzing, like I said, had a big smile on my face. I was working the crowd and my routine went really well. I was actually the only routine out of the whole class of 17 that got posted on the WNBF Instagram. So go and check that out. But yeah, I'll take that as a huge compliment, and that I at least made an impression from my stage presence. And yeah, like I said, I've definitely got the bug for it now. Posing evaluation. How did your posing feel on stage looking back? Do you feel your practice paid off, or are there areas you'd like to work on? So I was called to the front line to compare to all of the top 5 more than anybody else. My number just kept getting called and called and called, which meant I had to do posing round after posing round after posing round. It's now 5 days on and I've still got sore abs from the amount of work that they made me do. So I would say that yes, my practice posing and prep for like 5 months, holding the poses and building up my stamina really paid off, because there was a lot of people sort of shaking, getting gassed out, and I think I made it look quite effortless, which it really wasn't, because I was just getting more and more tired and just battered by the judges wanting me to be compared against everybody. So again, I'll take it as a compliment, and I think I really did well there. Like I said, the areas that I'd like to work on are just that front pose, twisting of the hips, and also they did specify palm open, but it looks a lot better with the palm closed. So again, that's going to be something that I'm going to tweak. So what's next for me? Do you plan to compete again soon? And if so, how will you adjust your training strategy? Yes, competing again this Saturday. The strategy has changed slightly. So last week we did a deplete of carbs and then a replete. The idea was we were wanting to make sure that I came in really lean condition, but it did mean that we sacrificed a little bit of fullness on stage, and I looked a little flat next to some of the bigger guys. So this week we have decided to linearly load carbs. So as the week progresses, we've been upping 50 grams of carbs, 50 grams of carbs, 50 grams of carbs, and that is just filling me up, and even at the expense of some leanness, because I'm so lean right now, it's not going to make that much of a difference there, but hopefully it should help to just fill me out a bit more and make me look a bit bigger on the stage. I think these days in men's physique, they want a bit of a bigger, fuller look. And after that, potential to go to an international competition the weekend after. If not, then we get straight into massing and working on those weak areas. Support system. Competing in physique shows requires an immense amount of discipline. How important was your support system, and who helped you the most during your journey? So big thank you to my coach, Steve Hall, and my posing coach, Mike Chalice. They have been immensely supportive throughout. I also had support from my best friends at the show, and Rob Whedon, who came second at the Open Men's Middleweight division last year at WNBF Worlds, which I may have got wrong. I have a video on YouTube actually with him, so if you've not seen that yet, then go check it out. It's on my channel. That's quite interesting. And my family, in particular my sister actually, because she's been doing some jobs like tanning my back, and I absolutely messed up my toe and it went all black from hiking in the Lake District, and she's had to paint that several times. So yeah, big thanks to her as well. Reflecting on carb loading and all physical preparation, did your body respond as expected on show day, or were there any surprises? I would say body responded exactly as planned on show day. So like I said, we wanted me looking very lean, very conditioned, and that was the look that we brought to stage. There is a trade-off and a risk, as always, when you go to stage. You have to go in with a strategy and see whether it pays off. This time, it probably would have been better to be a bit fuller, but you know, what we intended to do worked. We looked very conditioned, probably the most conditioned guy on the stage. And yeah, like I said, I didn't look out of place. There were no surprises. This week with the feeding up, I'm I think, looking better already. So we shall see come Saturday whether that makes a bit of a difference. Advice for first timers. So what advice would you give to someone preparing for their first men's physique competition, especially considering your recent experience? So I am going to be dropping 10 quick tips to guarantee you make the best impression and success on stage video. It's going to be more succinct than that title, but I'll be making that in the near future, so keep a lookout for that. A quick little nugget of what I have learned is that I would probably say something that I did wrong was have expectations of where you're going to finish before you get on the stage. And I tried to have the mindset of just go out there, enjoy it, and what will be, will be. But, you know, you spent all that time, you want to be competitive, you want to try and place well. And yeah, that just meant that it was a bit harder to process because I thought that I was going to place going into it. And yeah, after the show, it got me down because, yeah, unfortunately, our expectations for things are usually the root cause of why we get so down about something. So try not to set the expectations too high. Obviously go out there with confidence, but just be present, enjoy the experience, and whatever happens, happens. Thank you, ChatGPT. That was another good grilling that you've given me. This is actually really fun. I'm not sure if people enjoy this type of content, but if you do, then drop a comment below. I can do more. And keep a lookout because I'm going to be dropping the WNBF Peak Week video and WNBF Show Day weekend, and I'll do another Peak Week and Show Day for the UKDFBA, which I compete in 2 days' time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all again soon.